Okay, so an abdominal aortic aneurysm, what I have is when the largest artery in your body, the aorta, widens and starts to fill up like a balloon. If you look at this diagram I took from a video, it shows how that it's called an aneurysm once it gets 50% wider in a certain part than normal. For those of us who were aware we have an aneurysm, you have to have the size monitored at least once a year to make sure it hasn't grown. As it shows in this video for a man, when it reaches the size of 5.5 centimeters is when they worry it can rupture. Or, like I fixed it for my case, as a female, minus the love handles and hopefully with a waist, the size you don't want to reach is 5.0 centimeters. This scary diagram shows the progression of how it goes from an aneurysm to the too large size to where it ruptures, in other words, burst in your body where you bleed out within minutes. Typically the F word, fatal. I've known I've had an aneurysm since 2015, and about a year ago I saw this special on Dateline that really scared me. Here's a small part of it.
Nearly 200,000 Americans have these aneurysms. Problem is, they're almost impossible to treat. Doctors sometimes use a stent to repair the aorta, but in most cases, it doesn't work. The aneurysms are often in places where the stents don't fit. So patients end up living with their own personal ticking time bomb.
Each anatomy of the patient is different, and that's the problem.
But now, doctors at the Mayo Clinic have pioneered a personalized approach to treating what was once a death sentence. They first create customized stents designed for each individual patient.
I watched the whole Dateline special in horror, assuming that mine would never get that bad, but just in case, I wrote this note in my phone with Dr. Oderich's name at the Mayo Clinic in case I ever needed it. And as most of you know, I've already been to Dr. Oderich after my emergency surgery that I had a stent put in. And as I explained in my first video with Dr. Oderich's drawings, the problems that I'm having now was this regular stent was put in my very twisted aorta and it didn't fit right. And that surgeon used 8 or more screws to try to hold it in place, which caused more problems. I was readmitted into the hospital on Easter weekend when they realized that the stent had developed a leak. Currently, there are now 2 or 3 leaks, and the amount of fluid that is leaking into the aneurysm has more than doubled. And the bottom of this stent is creating a blockage, which is stopping the blood to get to my left butt and leg. So I need a new surgery. Which brings me to the bad part. Okay, so there's only 2 types of surgeries to repair an abdominal aortic aneurysm. One, which I already had, was the endovascular repair. For this surgery, they don't have to cut you open. They poke holes into your groin, right into your veins, and they go up through your veins with the stent, which is at the time very, very thin and condensed, and once it's put into the aorta, it opens up into shape. Look how big it is. I have one of those suckers twisted all around inside me right now. Oh boy. Okay, so the other surgery, if that's what you want to call it, looks like this. This nightmare, surgery, is called an open repair. They cut you all the way open and they take out all your organs and go underneath everything until they get to your aorta, and they stop the blood flow by clamping it on both sides, cut out your aorta, take out the whole thing, and put in fake one. When I saw this picture, I did a definite one of these. So obviously I wanted to do the endovascular repair, and when I went to the Mayo Clinic, I was hoping that Dr. Oderich could make me a custom-made stent that fit into my twisted aorta, which is what I believed I had needed in the first place. Dr. Oderich agreed that was a possibility, and the purpose of the consultation was to see how I was doing now and compare which surgery would be best for me. During my consultation, Dr. Oderich literally drew pictures of the inside of my body as he explained everything. I detailed his first picture about my condition in the last video. This is the second picture he drew, which shows in detail how he would make a custom stent for me. The type of customized stent I would get is called a fenestrated stent. It's called that because this customized stent would have fenestrations. In other words, little holes cut out of the stent in the exact places they needed to be to fit where my branches and arteries come out of the aorta. Just like he had done on his first picture, the left side shows the stent as it would look outside of my body. I colored in the whole stent in yellow, and I outlined where the fenestrations would be in red. To show you how much longer this customized stent would be, I highlighted in green the area which shows the actual size of the stent that's in me right now. And just like his first diagram, the right side picture shows how the stent would fit into my actual body with the twisted angles in the middle of my aneurysm, which I colored red. So Dr. Oderich said he could have a custom-made stent made for me in order for me to have an endovascular repair. But the stents are not commercially available or approved in the United States. It would have to be made overseas, and it would take months. And since I have a leak that is growing, and now there's 2, possibly 3 leaks, and the aneurysm size, which originally started at 3.3 centimeters and was all the way up to 4.9 at my surgery, is now 5.1 centimeters. That scares me. And a blockage to my left butt and legs. There's many complications. And perhaps the biggest one is the fact that the stent that is in there, the bad stent with all the screws, it can't be taken out and replaced. The stent that Dr. Oderich would make would have to go inside of that one. So there are many things that could go wrong. So even though I could actually have a customized stent made with all my complications, in my case, he does not recommend that procedure for me and things that I need to do the scary, gigantic, miserable open repair. That was, and still is, the last thing I wanted to hear. Not only do I need the open repair, but my case is so complicated that he has to consult with some gynecologist and check my old records to see if they can go in my abdomen. He thinks there's a high possibility that they might not be able to go down through the middle, and it might be best in my case to open up my side and flip over the whole top of me and go in sideways. And to make things worse, in order to find out, he thinks I might have to do another exploratory surgery before the surgery to make sure they'll be even able to do an open repair. Can you imagine? I had decided before I even went that if I did end up needing an open repair, I would not want to have it up at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. I wouldn't want to get on a plane by myself and go that far away for such a scary surgery and be that far away from Nick and the dogs and my home and anybody I know, and be in ICU for 7 to 10 days and then have a 3-month recovery after that. But now, after speaking longer with Dr. Oderich and going over my case, and realizing and understanding the extreme complications and complexities as he described them with my particular case and all the complications from my previous severe endometriosis, the risks involved, he truly believes, and I now understand that I do need him to do the surgery. He could only name one other possible physician that could handle my case, but he is also in North Carolina, another out-of-state doctor. The problem is, my insurance has no out-of-state coverage for either one. He said he's ready and willing to fight for me and to my insurance and prove the case why he has to do the open surgery, and he has to do it there. And I am now at the place where I have to want to do the thing that I never wanted to do in a place that I never wanted to do it. So that's where we stand. And the Mayo Clinic has already scheduled my surgery date, and I've already booked my hotel for the first days when I go up there before I sign myself in. This week, I start getting my primary involved, and the fight for my life with my insurance company begins. But for now, this video ends. Thank you for watching. I hope you feel updated. And like they say when you're getting off the plane after the long plane ride, bye-bye.